As you might remember, we brought you Nancy Pelosi's horrific comments about members of Congress and their spouses being able to trade stocks. She totally dismissed the idea that this would lead to corruption, even after Business Insider had revealed how many members of Congress were deeply conflicted or had actively violated the stock law, which requires disclosure. She said, but it's a free market. People should be able to participate in that. That language and the case she made there for overt corruption was so disgusting that even some of Wall Street's friends and handmaidens,
the biggest Wall Street defenders in all of media,
even they were like, whoa, that was pretty far. Let's take a listen to Stephanie Ruhle and Andrew Ross Sorkin.
You got to walk me through this. When you're the CEO of a publicly traded company, there are all sorts of restrictions on what you can do. When you work in an investment bank, when you work as an investor, so many restrictions when it comes to personal investments. But these people, lawmakers, these are policymakers, policies that directly influence the way business is done all over the country. How is this even remotely legal?
This was one of the most disappointing and maybe, to put it even less politely, disgraceful comments and views I have heard espoused on this issue, and surprising given Pelosi's views on many other issues. We have insider trading laws for a reason. CEOs, executives cannot trade. Members of the Federal Reserve now cannot trade. And yet we are allowing our politicians who do have access to inside information. They are often briefed regularly about all sorts of things that are about to happen and that they have a meaningful influence on what is about to happen, and they are trading. To the extent that politicians should want the public to trust them, this undermines every bit of trust. It goes to every worst expectation of corruption. And it's not even an expectation. It's real.
I mean, it's really
It's real, all right.
It's real. It's very interesting, the case they make there, Saagar, because they're like, even the crooks on Wall Street can't insider trade.
They're right, though. Yeah, they're right. You know, my sister works in finance. She has all kinds of restrictions on the ability that she does. She's got more restrictions on her as like an early staffer in finance as somebody who's not the Speaker of the House.
It's insane.
It's totally nuts. And they're right.
Why? Because those laws were not put in place by the people that are going to then be subject to those rules and laws.
Right.
Whereas in Congress, we're relying on crooks like Pelosi and all the rest of them to regulate themselves, and they're just brazen about it. I mean, what Business Insider uncovered, the number was 15 members who sit directly on defense committees and have direct investments in Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and these other military industrial complex places. You had something like 75 members trying to profit off the pandemic. You had people who were just total hypocrites in terms of, I'm pro-environment, I'm anti-climate change, and then they're invested in like ExxonMobil. Right. It was just. And then you've got, Republicans who are very anti-Silicon Valley, and they're invested in Silicon Valley stocks.
Exactly, yeah.
It just complete hypocrisy, complete corruption, complete erosion of the public trust. So brazen that even Stephanie Ruhle and Andrew Ross Sorkin, who Stephanie Ruhle famously not from Park Avenue, but pretty darn close.
When you lost the multimillionaire MSNBC host who defends Park Avenue residents, you have a problem. You have a serious corruption problem. There's no other way to describe it. Yeah, it's like, Andrew Ross Sorkin, for people who don't know, the host of CNBC's morning show, Squawk Box. He co-created Billions, like the icon of Wall Street media. Wrote Too Big to Fail, deeply embedded, with the industry. I'm not criticizing him necessarily. I'm just saying, like, that's who these people are. Even they are like, this is totally nuts and crazy. That is how far Pelosi is out of step on this. And you can't help but wonder, how is this lady worth $150 million? And her husband makes all sorts of sketchy options trades based on very risky information hours before votes. It's nuts. I can't even believe it's legal, and yet it is. And it's only recently that we even found out about this because of the passage of the Stock Act. Now they just have to tell us, but they can still do it.
Yeah, Sorkin has a lot of access in this world. He's deeply entwined.
Yes, that's right.
And, I hate him just because he continues to look like he's like 20 years old for his entire life. I just think that's not fair.
How old is he?
I want to know the answers. Like, what are you doing?
Something?
So, until we get those answers and
good
accountability,
makeup.
I'm not going to be a fan. I just looked up. He's 44.
44 years old. He's a good-looking guy.
Looks like
Good
he's
for you,
15.
Andrew. Yeah, he does. Probably working out. I got to get on that regimen.
He's got whatever
All right.
the like Wall Street, unicorn blow or whatever that they're drinking over there.
Well, I got to get some. Hook me up. All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.